Lefty here with your early market report for Sunday, May 23rd. I think I'm going to try and make sure I always do a market report video on Sunday, because Sunday's an important day for most bettors, mainly the ones who bet through bookies, and the week ends on Sunday. So it's the last day that decides if you're either going to pay out or collect from the book. I'd like to think these market report videos could help someone find an edge, even if it's just one person that, finds these videos helpful. It's worth it to me. If this is your first time watching a market report video, it might be helpful to go back and watch some of the first market report videos. I do a better job at discussing more of the basic fundamentals on how we interpret this data on screen, and that might be helpful. Basically, what we're trying to do here with these videos is use what's called a live odds screen, which allows us to follow the early bets and money and see how the odds makers are reacting to this early action. This can be helpful because a lot of the more informed bettors, or what they're considered sharp bettors, are the ones betting early into the opening lines. Then the public or recreational bettors tend to get involved later, closer to game time. Now, as always, it's important to remember that the data we see on screen here only represents a small amount of bets, so these numbers will certainly change as more bets start to roll in. But let's hop right into it. We have the Sunday MLB odd screen up. The opening lines have now been up for a couple hours. As you can see, there's still some incomplete data, but we'll skip those and kind of focus on the ones that have bets already coming in. Let's take a look first at the Brewers-Reds matchup here. Nothing too crazy going on here. Milwaukee getting 58% of the bets. 56% of the money. Castillo, I'm kind of tempted to back him here. I've had success betting against him a few times this year, and he was one of the few pitchers I had targeted at the beginning of the year to bet against. I actually talked about him a lot in the pitching metrics video I did on velocity. I used him as an example of a pitcher who might struggle based on predictive metrics, mainly his dip in velocity. But before his last start, I kind of had a feeling he'd start to show some positive regression. And I talked a little bit about that in the community too before his last start because, Castillo's just been an auto fade pitcher, But he actually had a solid outing his last game. He didn't get the win because the bullpen blew it. But he went like 6 innings. He had 11 strikeouts, which is by far the most he's had all season. This is definitely a spot where it would be Cincinnati or pass for me. Since he crushes right-handed pitching, I think it stays like that too. Plus, the Brewers, they used up 3 of their top arms in the bullpen last night. All 3 of them pitched: Sutter, Williams, and Hader. And with this being a getaway game for the Brewers, they travel back home after this game and start a series against the Padres tomorrow. I think they're going to have limited availability in the bullpen and possibly their lineup. They might sit guys. But Cincy, on the other hand, they kept their bullpen rested last night. And they have the day off tomorrow, so they'll have all arms available on deck. Definitely be a Reds spot here for me as far as game theory goes. What else we got here? Actually, let's just take a look at Pitt and Atlanta. Atlanta's just been getting pretty much all the bets and money this whole series against Pitt, which is no surprise, really. It's Pitt. Last night's game for Atlanta, they ended with 92% of the money. And look, odds makers opened this 170. It's already up to 190 at Pinnacle. And 170 is probably the accurate price, actually. But, bettors are just throwing money against Pitt. The odds makers pretty much have to adjust. It probably seems easy to most people just to bet a team like Atlanta against Pitt. But the price is just the ultimate equalizer. This is the 4th and final game of this series between these two teams. If you bet $100 on Atlanta in the first 3 games of this series, you'd be dead even right now going into this 4th game. Atlanta lost the first game in this series as minus 200 favorites. Then they won game two as I believe like 180 favorites, and they won last night again as minus 200 favorites. So, game one, Atlanta backers lost $200 right off the bat. They just got it back after two straight wins, but my point is it's tough making money backing big favorites. And they just aren't always as easy as it seems. Like, oh, this team's way better, just bet them. But you just gotta, it costs money to bet those good teams, and it eventually catches up with you. What else? Coors Field games. These are always weird. Arizona and Colorado. I have no feel for these two teams, really. Looks like Arizona's getting bets and money here. Yeah, I don't know what to make of these two teams. This total looks retarded. 90% of the money, the bets on the under, with 98% of the money on the under. Yeah, there's no way that's accurate. We see these with Coors Field totals all the time, and I've talked about this before with the same exact example. What we see here is sharp bettors attempting to hold this line in place or stall it so they can get money down on the over. No sharps are betting under in Coors Field this early, especially with weather likely involved. Let's see what the weather's doing actually here. Yeah, wind's blowing out almost 20 miles per hour. Yeah, okay. There's no chance. This is just a setup here. I'll get into what I think of this. It's a little bit more of like advanced, like market interpretation. But what sharps try to do here is like, or at least in my opinion, they're trying to manipulate this total. And sharp bettors will do this when early when lines come out. They'll place a few bets on the under at books that report their data. So what happens is it shows under action on screen here. And how this helps them is the PPH books, or what's called paper head books, they copy most of these lines on screen. These PPH books are where the sharps can get down way more money by having multiple accounts and bigger limits. Once they start hitting the under on those off-screen books, the on-screen books can take notice and adjust the line up. So that's why we see under action, but this line going up to 12 at Pinnacle. Chris has already moved to 11.5. So Pinnacle's up a full run, but why would they move up a full run with 90 and 98% on the under? Even though they just started receiving under bets, but they know the true position by seeing what's happening off screen. Off screen's getting pounded with overaction. I know that might sound confusing, but there's definitely people in the Discord community, members that have been around for a while, who understand what I'm talking about there. But let's get moving. I got time for maybe one more. Let's see what else we got. Minnesota, Cleveland looks like a good one. Let's see what we got here. Looks like the early public action likes Cleveland coming off a win last night. And now I really like these betting splits here for Minnesota. These are what you kind of want to see. You got 28% of the bets equaling 47% of the money. So we're on the contrarian side, with less bets, but the money is higher. So how does 28% equal 47%? That 28% has some bigger size bets there. Cleveland will probably continue to get lopsided bets too. J.A. Happ got smoked his last outing too, but it was against the White Sox. They absolutely murder left-handed pitching, and Cleveland's definitely not the White Sox. So Happ actually already pitched against Cleveland this year too, and I want to say he went like 7 strong innings. I like the Twins in this spot. Cleveland just lost DH Franmil Reyes too. And with it being a getaway day, I could see Cleveland sit some bats too. And Minnesota should get Cruz and Polanco back in their lineup today after they just sat out last night. So it's definitely a lean towards the Twinkies here. Let's see, anything else worth talking about? I'm definitely getting close to that 10-minute mark. Nobody's even watching right now besides my man Corey Taylor. Shout out to him. Basically doing these videos for him at his request. But I think that might actually do it for now. Actually, no. I wanted to talk about this in the last market report video. Not sure if any of you recall, when was it? Maybe about like 8 or 10 days ago in one of these market report videos, I talked about looking for regression spots. Once we get a decent sample size, I had just started doing this about a week and a half ago. I talked about Seattle and used them as an example. All year, Seattle, they've hit extremely well with runners in scoring position, way better than they have overall. And going by the OPS metric, which shows us on base plus slugging, which is basically getting on base and hitting for power. It's a really good all-in-one stat. But it had showed Seattle had an OPS of 823 with runners in scoring position, but only a 650 OPS overall. At the time, it was the biggest gap in the league. In that video, I started talking about how with those numbers, you can start to expect some serious regression offensively from Seattle. And that was roughly 10 days ago. So let's take a look to see what Seattle's done recently or in the last 5 games. Okay, so this is Seattle's last 5. They've lost 5 in a row. They've scored 4, 1, 2, 0, and 1. So, yeah, regression's definitely kicking in for Seattle, and I expect this to continue too. But, alright, let me get out of here. This might be the longest video I've done yet. I think we only went over 4 games too. I got to try to make these shorter. Or maybe I'll just start doing more discussions in the Discord community on the games I couldn't cover here. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully you guys crush it today with your bets and close the weekend out strong. Until next time, I'll see you in the Betting Network Discord community. The link to join is in the description. Good luck today, and as always, may all the umps calls go your way.